So here's what Senator Mike Lee said. Not only does he say you need 3 weeks to read through it, he said no self-respecting senator should agree to vote on a 370-page bill this week. Any 41 senators can prevent the bill from proceeding. If you agree that senators should have this bill for at least a few weeks, and certainly more than a few days before voting on it, say so. You understand where he's coming from, right? Don't you guys have a procedural vote this week? And you're going to vote on the bill by the end of the week?
So we actually have this bill came out yesterday, Sunday. The first procedural vote is Wednesday, and that procedural vote is literally just open it up to be able to go through it and to be able to say, are we going to debate it this week? That's what Senator Lee is actually talking about. It's interesting that he said he's already opposed to it. He needs 3 weeks to be able to read it, but he's already opposed to it. Again, people have got to be able to read it, go through it themselves. Don't just go off a Facebook post somewhere what the bill says. This dramatically changes asylum. It dramatically changes deportations. We no longer have a 10-year backlog. It builds more wall. Those are the key things that it actually does. But read it for yourselves. Don't just believe what's online.
Here's what Speaker Johnson said. I have seen enough. This bill is even worse than we expected. It won't come close to any of the border catastrophe the president has created. As the lead Democrat negotiator proclaimed, under this legislation, the border never closes. If this bill reaches the House, it will be dead on arrival. Your thoughts?
Yeah, unfortunate that he would step out and be able to say that right away before, obviously, he had had a chance to be able to read it as well and to be able to go through it. The key aspect of this, again, is are we as Republicans going to have press conferences and complain the border's bad and then intentionally leave it open? After the worst month in American history in December, now we've got to actually determine, are we going to just complain about things, or are we going to actually address and to change as many things as we can? If we have the shot, and it's amazing to me, if I go back 2 months ago and say we had the shot under a Democrat president to dramatically increase detention beds, deportation flights, lock down the border, to be able to change the asylum laws, to be able to accelerate the process, no one would have believed it. And now no one actually wants to be able to fix it and says, I don't want to even debate it. I don't want to discuss it. We have to decide as Republicans, what are we going to actually do about the border? Leave it open or actually leave it closed?
Here is what Speaker Johnson said yesterday on Meet the Press.
We are willing to work with the Senate. I am not disclosing that, and I've been very consistent for the 100 days that I've had the gavel. We're willing to work, but they have to be serious about it. If you only do a few of those components, you are not going to solve the problem. And Kristen, that's not a Republican talking point. That's what the sheriffs at the border, the Border Patrol agents, the deputy chief of U.S. Border Patrol, a 33-year veteran of the agency, told us. He said it's as though we're administering an open fire hydrant. He said, I don't need more buckets like the president's proposed. I need to stop the flow. And we know how to do that, but Joe Biden is unwilling to do it.
So if you could answer him, what would you say?
Yeah, I would say we do have to be able to decide here, because at one point I'll hear people say we don't need more laws. The president has all the authorities they need. And then the other side say we need more than the laws that this is actually giving. So, again, we have to decide, is this a matter of we have all the authorities that are needed, we need to do nothing, or we need to do everything because the president doesn't have enough authority? At the end of the day, let's do everything we can. We do have a Democrat president. We have a Democrat Senate. We have a Republican House. This is a moment to solve as many things as we can and then keep working on the next thing.
Senator Langford, what gets people nervous is that we watch this president, I think you agree with me, do more damage to the border than any president in history. He won't even go see it during a time in which it's broken. He doesn't want to hear about it. The vice president ignores it. And they're all in support of this bill. Chuck Schumer's in support of this bill. Only Senator Padilla out in California has been skeptical. And a lot of Republicans instinctively said, what am I missing? Why are they in support of this bill?
Yeah. Well, I would also tell you that there are liberal protesters in D.C., and if you come around the Capitol, there's posters put up all over the place from liberal activists saying stop this Republican immigration bill as well. There are plenty of liberal activists that are actually furious about this because it's locking down asylum. It's changing the parole authority. Right now, today, Biden's going to give out 1,500 work permits to just random people as they cross the border. This bill ends that. That's what the liberal activists are actually fighting against as well. So there are a lot of things in this that people should look at and go, can we put a stop to this chaos?
Senator Lindsey Graham is in. Any other Republican senators are in to join you in support if this comes to a vote?
Yeah, there are quite a few that are out there. Everybody's going through it, obviously, and people want to be able to read it and actually review it. Some people are taking it seriously and actually going through and saying, does this have a significant change in policy? Can we actually, under a Democrat president, compel them to be able to do things that they do not want to do? And for this White House to be able to step out and say they're in support of it, I would tell you, I've been in the negotiations. They fought this all the way through, and then at the very end of it are saying, okay, we're going to do it. But there's a big difference here of what will actually occur if we actually implement these things in this bill.
Senator Langford, thanks so much. We're just scratching the surface on, 280 pages on pure border security. But I think you outlined it, and best of luck